So I was going home on the bus one night, and we stopped at a red light. At this red light, I looked out my window, and I saw this coffee shop with about 9 people lined up waiting for their order. And the thing that caught my attention the most was about 5 of these people waiting online were doing this on their phones. Now, my educated guess was that these guys were on Facebook. So what if I told you that Facebook may actually be more harmful than good for you? How many of you guys are on Facebook? By show of hands. Wow. See, almost all of you are on Facebook. How many of you guys are on Facebook as I'm giving this talk? Okay, that's a relief. That's too bad. I would have told you to add me anyway. Because by tomorrow, I will know everything about you. The way we connect with people now, it's a lot less intimate than before, now that Facebook's around. Before, we would get each other's numbers, we would get each other's email. And in order to learn more about this person, we would have to actively engage with the other person. We would have to converse with them. But now on Facebook, you can see someone's life posted on their feed. You can see someone's life through their statuses by the pictures they post. And in a way, you superficially met them without actually meeting them. And that's the problem, because that actually can cause us to lose desire in meeting. Well, cause us to lose desire in meeting this person face to face. And what's worse is that all of us kind of carry baggage, and we find this baggage through all the embarrassing pictures that are on Facebook, by all the embarrassing videos, statuses. And in a sense, we start to really draw a false conclusion about who this person really is. In reality, people change all the time. So the people we meet face to face is a lot different than the people we see on Facebook. And also, how awkward would it be that the next time you see this person, you kind of have to pretend that you don't know anything about them, when in reality, you know everything about what they're doing. The newsfeed might be the most addicting aspect of Facebook. We as human beings love to be constantly stimulated. We love to be social. A psychologist, Matt Lieberman, actually did a study where he found that we tend to place our need to connect over our need for basic necessities such as food and shelter. And that in itself is a bit scary to me. And it's obvious that in order for us to fight boredom, we find ways to distract our minds. We find ways to engage our minds with something else. And that's what Facebook does. By allowing us to constantly be engaged and connected with each other, and by allowing us to be constantly stimulated and distracted, it's basically a recipe for disaster. Because our minds aren't programmed for this level of social stimulation. And as a result, just like with many other pleasure stimulators, we start to create a neurological imbalance in our brains. This is probably the biggest reason why Facebook is plastered on so many people's laptops, so many people's smart devices. The newsfeed can also prevent us from being the best version of ourselves. There's no one we really could be better than ourselves. And with about 500 to 1,000 friends that's constantly bombarding us with what they're doing, what they're seeing, where they're going to eat, we start to lose appreciation of what we have and start worrying about what other people are doing or what other people have. So why do we need to know so much about other people's lives? Take for instance, when I had Facebook, I met this person. I would meet someone and right away I would add them on Facebook. And in a 2 days period, I would know that this person had Korean barbecue for dinner. That this person went to Hawaii for one of her vacations based on the picture they posted up. Or even that they took the biggest dump they'd ever taken that morning. We can actually use the space we use to store all this useless information, we can use for something more productive in our lives. We can actually pick up a newspaper and skim through it. We might find a wellness article telling us how bad sugar is for our health. We might find a review of this amazing ramen restaurant in Long Island City where we ourselves can go to and experience for ourselves, and then maybe post a picture online later. All of this, in turn, will help us better ourselves. And the more we subconsciously worry about other people, the less we end up worrying about improving our own lives. The timeline can also be extremely distracting when you study. I used to tell myself that I wouldn't touch Facebook when I'm studying, and I would study for like 3-4 hours straight. It's a good idea on paper, but in reality, it actually takes a lot of effort, a lot of mental effort to resist the temptation of going on Facebook. And I need a lot of mental power just to study in itself, and I can't lose any of that capacity to resist anything, because quite frankly, I'm not that smart. And all the notifications that pop up on our phones from Facebook makes us a reactionary person. We become reactionary people and we start to lose focus on the biggest task at hand. I used to wake up in the morning and spend about 5 minutes scrolling through my newsfeed before I wake up. And this was probably the worst things that could do to my productivity. Take, for example, the story about the priorities in a jar. How would you fill out a jar as much as you can with 3 things, and in what order? Rocks, pebbles, and sand. Idealistically, we want to fill the jar up first with rocks, then pebbles, and then sand. Relating this to our everyday lives, the rocks can resemble our biggest priorities, such as studying for an oral exam, going to the gym, or if you're like me, writing this talk. And the pebbles can represent the more minor tasks, minor chores, such as doing your laundry, washing dishes, making your bed. And finally, sand can be Facebook, the little sprinkle on top that we can throw on at the end of the day. So when I was waking up, scrolling through Facebook, I started filling my jar up with sand. And that actually took away from the space I could have used to fill it up with rocks, my biggest priorities. Because if there's no space for sand, that's fine, but if there's no space for rocks, then that's a big problem. We're so involved with Facebook that we often forget about the world around us. Some of us forget about how beautiful our surrounding is. And some of us don't realize how terrible some things are that's going on in society. Every second we spend scrolling through Facebook is a possible missed opportunity for us to spark the genius within us. So while you can scroll through Facebook while you're on a train until you get to where you want to be, you can also look around and observe your city, observe the complexities of your city, and maybe you'll find inspiration to bring about change within your community. In the end, there doesn't seem to be enough benefits that outweigh the time wasted on Facebook. So give it a try, activate, and rediscover the mental clarity you once had in 2006. Thank you.